Call to order the January 4th, 2022 meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee. This is an in-person meeting in the Nauset Room at Town Hall with remote access and on Channel 18. In attendance today is myself, Nancy Wren, Bill Stockert, Fran McLennan, Susan Carlson, Katie Wibby, Marcia Allgaier, and our liaison from the Select Board, Andrea Reed. Okay. Our first agenda item today is we welcome Chris DeSisto. He is a developer with Maplehurst Builders who has purchased the Underground Mall, and he has asked to come to our meeting and introduce himself to our committee. We note that this is an introductory conversation built upon our mutual interest in affordable housing opportunities for Orleans. It is also noted the Affordable Housing Committee is a group of volunteers who can share their individual observations and opinions today, but we do not represent the town or any of its regulations. Planning Director George Meservey is always available for follow-up questions and answers to things that may come up during this meeting. Okay. Welcome, Chris. Would you want to come up to the podium, please, and let us meet you and hear about your plans for this property? These are some preliminary site plans. Here we go.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
It should also be noted that we've been looking at this property for a long time. People have been on this committee and are excited to hear some ideas that you might have for it.
Great. Thank you, Nancy, and members of the committee. My name is Chris DeSisto with Maplehurst Builders. I've been a builder for over 30 years, largely in the Boston area, although one of my first projects was in Wellfleet as a young man, and it's good to be back on Cape Cod. I acquired the Underground Mall with the intention of building housing. Currently, the plans call for 43 units of relatively modest size, 1 and 2 bedrooms in 6 buildings. We plan to repurpose the existing mall into underground parking, and the intention is to make this a green project and one which, by Cape standards, will be more modestly priced than perhaps what is found locally. It is not a 40B project. We intend to privately finance it, and we also intend to manage it ourselves. I'm looking to move to Eastham and relocate to Cape Cod. So the intention is to build it, manage it, and hold on to it. Excuse me. Oh, okay. So what you have in front of you is the proposed site plan. You can see surface parking. A lot of the asphalt will be removed. There's 2 courtyards. 3 of the buildings are a combination of 1 and 2 bedrooms, and there's 3 buildings which are exclusively 2-bedroom. You see right now in the dark, this shows the parking. That's the existing mall, which will serve to be underground parking. We also have a community room, which we can sort of celebrate the unique construction of the domes and the concrete. Our feeling is that this is ideally suited for housing, given that it's at the merger of 2 highways. It also seems to fit and satisfy a big need on Cape Cod and elsewhere for some quality, yet, again, modestly priced rental apartments. We have almost 90 parking spaces, 43 units. We hope to introduce a lot of solar. And as you can see from the floor plans, the units are efficient. We want to introduce the elevations, which will have a Cape Cod vernacular in terms of material use, but will not be the traditional doghouse dormer 10-pitch roof. We want to have a little more modern interpretation, but still have the materials and that are reminiscent of Cape Cod. So you see on one of the elevations is more elevated than the other. That is largely a parapet, and that's where we hope to hide the solar. The floor plans are very well developed. The elevations we're still working on with Derek. He's the architect, Derek Bloom. And this is largely a chance to ask questions, familiarize with one another, and introduce the project. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to hear thoughts and explain what we're trying to do.
I got one.
Sure.
So I'm just trying to understand, you said the current mall is going to be underground parking. Do you envision building above it?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's just going to be covered,
Correct. It'll
be a shell that.
the same.
Exactly. Okay.
So you're not really going underground?
Well, I say underground largely because there's vegetation
Got it. got it.
on top. So
Got it.
the idea is to preserve that, both in terms of retaining the earth, but also use the greenery as a place for perhaps recreation. It could be picnic tables, it could be pickleball or an orchard. But we see that as an opportunity, so much so that two of the buildings will have direct access to that vegetated area on top of the current mall. So there's two portions. You can see where the surface parking is that's closest to Route 6A, the double loaded. We intend to remove several modules of the existing dome structure to create the parking and sort of get it to the other opposite site, but have it somewhat buried. So we don't have the stats right now, but as anybody who's familiar with the site, it's largely asphalt right now. So we're going to redistribute the parking, satisfy those requirements, but also introduce a lot more greenery into the site. Yes.
Regarding the parking again, are you planning to take down the buildings that are there or simply use the buildings that are there?
Reuse them.
Reuse them, okay.
There'll be a section, I guess the northmost section, that will be taken down
Okay,
to create some of that parking.
which is what you just said,
And
yeah.
put it in the corner. But
Yeah, okay,
other than that, we plan on using it and just repurposing it
great.
as is. We'll take down the facade, so you won't see that facade, and it's unclear exactly how we're going to replace that, because for the most part, there'll be obstructions. So from 6A, there's no real clean line of sight into the mall anymore. It'll be largely obstructed by the buildings, the new residences.
Could you go over the different types of 1 and 2 bedroom units? How many of
Yes.
1 bedroom, how many for 2 bedroom, and
43 total. And the 1 beds, we've got 18, so there'll be 25 2 beds. That's in its current configuration. Most of the units are identical. So other than floors 1, 2, 3, there is no hierarchy to the units.
What's the square footage on a 1 and a versus a 2?
The 1 beds are about 700 feet, and the 2 beds about 950. What we've also done, both to make them accessible, more readily accessible, is we've lowered the first floor, so it's only a foot or so off the ground. So that'll make entries easier, make it accessible, and it also brings the height down so that we can get the 3rd floor, which is very important to the project.
So how high will the building height be then?
It's 30 feet with the parapet on one segment of the building being another 3 to 4 feet higher. And that parapet will obscure the solar panels from 6A.
And I see there's an office on site. I assume you're going to have your own management on site, or will it be off-site?
Yes, on-site.
Do you have an idea of who you might be using for that, or?
No. Yeah, we may self-manage it. And one clarification I need to get from George is that the number of units gets reduced by commercial space, but it's not clear to me whether, if it's an office for the apartments, whether that constitutes a reduction or not. So we need some clarification on that. But the idea is not to have commercial retail space here. At one point, we thought about maybe a theater or, but I think we're just gonna stick to apartments, do it well, and at the outside, maybe, you know, if there's a need for, you know, a daycare or early childhood for some residents, maybe we'll introduce that, but
Do you have a community room, I see?
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's for, you know, the units are relatively small, so if you had a family gathering
Yeah.
or a birthday party or something like that, it also gives an opportunity for folks to enjoy the domed ceiling, which was a unique construction method in 1980 when they did it.
And then talk about the affordable, you're doing the ratio of affordable,
Currently, we plan on doing 5 affordable.
5 affordable? Okay.
And how do you propose to rent those out under affordable guidelines? Do you have you going to have a lottery, or have you gotten that far yet?
That I'm ignorant of. When we do those kind of things in Boston, one would think there'd be a clearinghouse, and you would contribute your affordables, and some other project would contribute theirs, but they don't do it that way. So we have to hold our own lottery, and then with very loose guidelines, qualify the individuals, weight the applications for first home buyers or City of Boston residents, that kind of thing. So I need to educate myself as to how best to do that process.
could you talk a little bit about your financing and what kind of rents that you would envision charging?
Well, we don't have a dollar amount on the rents. I've been characterizing it as kind of workforce housing, but that's largely an intuitive kind of catch-all, because the site is such that, there's no water views, there's no, it's bordered by 2 highways. So the thinking is, make the units smaller and try to make the rents modest. And it's unclear what those rents will be. In terms of financing, I've spoken to one local bank, but we haven't secured a commitment, and it's still preliminary.
On the rents, you might look, because the Penrose development, which has gotten approval, the old Cape Cod 5 headquarters building, has done a market study. And I won't be completely relevant to yours, but I believe they have some workforce housing up to 110% of median.
Okay,
So if you like, I think George or I can provide you with the link
sure.
to the Penrose
Yeah.
study. It might be helpful.
Yeah, I've looked at some of the architecture of it, and, but I welcome.
Yeah, it's a different kind of thing, but it might still give you some data.
Yeah,
That might be
absolutely.
helpful.
Right.
I'm sure you know that about the Old Kings Highway District and the design issues for that site. So it's, will be nice to have some attractive design in that site, and hopefully design that will be approved by the Old Kings Highway District.
I'm meeting with them in 2 days.
Are you?
on Thursday.
Good.
Right, so I've just had some preliminary conversations, and I did introduce the concept that we were not doing, for example, the what do you call it, the Primrose, is that
Penrose.
Cape Cod 5? We are not doing, the porches, the doghouse dormers, we're trying to deviate from that, but still take the materials and some of the carpentry from Cape Cod. But as Derek, the architect, likes to remind me, he says we are building housing, not a house.
Yes.
So, the feeling is not to apply some ornamentation and try to make this look like a home on 6A in Brewster from the 1700s. It's not. It's housing. It's not a house that we've magnified. So the thinking is to keep it clean, simple, but use those kind of materials that are very familiar to people on the Cape.
I know you've just started this route. Do you have some kind of a timeline in mind or anything? If you, I know there's a million steps to go through before any of this happens, but do you have any kind of a timeline?
Not really, as long as it takes. Doing development in Boston has forced me to be very patient. That process is very slow and arduous. And whatever this takes to work with the community and get a good project is what we'll be satisfied with. So I have not built in Orleans, so I'm not familiar with what a typical project length is. So we'll just address the issues as they arise and keep working the design until everybody's satisfied, if that's possible.
A very positive
Yeah, right.
attitude. We'll be right behind you.
Is there another
another project that you've done that has some similarity to this one at all?
In terms of style or in terms of
Style,
scope?
or anything, I mean,
Affordable.
the kind of community, the whatever.
Well, we've done condo projects. They're more urban, the ones that we have. This is 3.65 acres, which, again, if this was in my neighborhood back in Boston, we'd be putting on 300 units on it. So it's a little different in that regard. When I started building, I did timber frames, mortise and tenon joinery, that kind of thing. So I'm self-trained as a carpenter. I got into development largely because I like the creative part of it. I like working with the architect. I don't just hand it off and have him generate his ideas. I'm very hands-on. I'll be up on the roof, making sure the guys are using the right fasteners. So, we're not a big outfit. One of my first projects was in Wellfleet, so we built a timber frame there. So I have some familiarity. My folks also have a cottage in East Dennis, so I've driven by the site hundreds of times.
What is that project in Wellfleet? Where is that?
It was Griffin Island, Chequassett Neck.
It's an individual home, though, correct?
That was a home.
Yeah, that was-
Oh, it's a
So,
home.
yeah, so
I
it's
see.
not, this was just my introduction to
Gotcha.
Cape Cod.
Cape
Yeah.
Cod.
Right.
So it sticks out largely because how cold that winter was, and we don't seem to get winters like that anymore.
How big is your company then?
What's that?
How big is your company?
It's largely just myself and a couple of carpenters. So we don't have office help. I sub out. And then the things that we do in-house are, we have a shop up in Roxbury, so we do, the brackets or the corbels or, the specialty touches on the interior. But most of the carpentry on a project of this size, we sub out. So in all likelihood, the way I've done it is, I'll be on site every day, managing it. And then, I'll staff as needed.
What attracted you to this project, and what are your hopes and dreams for it?
I think what attracted me was I'm looking to relocate, for one, so I'm building a house in Eastham currently. And I wasn't looking to come down here and retire or anything like that. So the idea was to get a project, something that I could, and then I started looking at the commercial properties, and like many of us, I drove by that site and saw the for sale sign, and I saw the shuttered plaza for a long time. And because my interest now is no longer single-family homes, so I don't build the 10,000 square foot homes anymore for one couple. My interest is 1,000 square foot, bath and a half apartments and housing. And I was also drawn by the need down here, so I figured it would meet with some receptivity, which is important, given that, where I'm from, everybody's battling. It's all the time. It's constant, whether it's this neighborhood group or, and it was something that I was looking to get away from. And I spent a lot of time on Cape Cod. I like to swim. I outdoor swim 9 months of the year, so this is where I want to be.
One of the things I love about your being here and introducing this project is what you said, is that there's certainly a need, and it's huge. But the other thing that you're saying is that you're not coming in a 40B, you're coming in private development. And I think that's very exciting to think that we can have private development that can provide the kind of housing that we really need here, that it's worth investing in. So I'm delighted.
I've never done a 40B project. Excuse me. You know, I know a lot of developers will come in and use that, you know, as a kind of a cudgel if they don't get their project. That's not really my style. This project, and to your point, to privately finance it, it will require some discipline. That's why, you know, the design has to be tight, efficient, and bankable, you know, so I need to be careful, you know, without you know, certainly everything I've done, you know, I'm a builder, I'm a carpenter, woodworker, so when I walk away from this project, I want, you know, I'll be my harshest critic. So it is not something that, as you can see, I'm not a suit and tie guy. I was installing the copper entry roofs on my house today. Last night I was doing it till 6:30, so, you know, I'm still in the field, I'm still in the mix, I'm still involved. So this will not be a situation where, you know, I show up once a week on the site, write checks to the guys, and, you know, then sell it to a New York investment firm. That's not going to happen.
Is there some outdoor space that people that are living there will have to use at all?
see this.
Yeah, I didn't, I'm sorry, I came in late, so you may have covered that already.
On top of the underground mall,
Yeah.
it's really vast up there. There's a lot of room. So the thinking is, in addition to repurposing for the parking, is that looks like it affords an opportunity to have some recreation, some plantings. I don't know if we'll do any solar there, but two of the buildings will have direct access onto that roof, and then we'll have some pathway to get up there. So the apartment complex, it's not going to have a lot of amenities in that, you know, we don't anticipate having a pools or workout rooms, right, or that kind of stuff. We want to keep the fees modest. I think the site lends itself to that, but we also recognize that people enjoy outdoor space, so we do plan on providing that kind of thing, where somebody can picnic or grill and or throw a ball around on top of the green roof.
And this is just curiosity, but sort of post-COVID, we're not post-COVID yet, but is there anything about the interior space that has changed in terms of what you're doing or what you're thinking because of the pandemic? In other words, more flexible space for people to have their home offices there, or different kinds of air filtering, or I don't know, anything like that you're thinking about?
I would say no, that this is a project that I would have proposed 4 years ago.
Okay.
You know, I know, again, up where I'm from now, the bigger units, especially in the condo market, seem to be especially attractive for folks that are staying at home. They want more space. However, as you can see, there are no 3 bedrooms. The idea is to keep everything tight and efficient, and hopefully modestly priced. You know, when we start getting into bigger units, they're by definition they'll be more expensive. I also, on the rental side, and again, maybe different here is, you know, I'm looking to have also a quiet community. You know, I'm not looking for, you know, 4 24-year-old guys to rent an apartment together. And, you know, that, when it comes to the self-management, I want, you know, my folks are getting on in years, and if they were to move to a place like this, I'd want it to be quiet, quite honestly. So we're going to discourage that kind of thing. You know, it's largely for the folks that are having trouble finding a place to live. The carpenters who helped frame my house, they come from Fall River. It's a long commute, and you know, it would be nice if the commute were 10 minutes instead of an hour and a half.
Are there elevators in this building?
No, at one point we were going to propose a 4-story building with elevators, and I got the sense that would not be well received. So we're going to keep it at the 3 stories.
Put your microphone forward so people can hear you.
Oh,
Well, we thank you for coming and sharing this. It's exciting, and there's a million steps to go before comes to fruition, but we appreciate you coming to us. Obviously, we would love to find some big A affordable and some small A affordable homes in Orleans, and it sounds like you're going to be a hands-on person, so that's also a good thing. I think opened up a good discussion for people in the town, and we wish you luck at every other step you go along the way. And Marcia might send you some more information if you'd like that. We can send that on to you. And as I said earlier, George Meservey is obviously your main contact, and he will help lead you through this process.
Do I present to your committee as the plans develop?
No, I think there'll be, this is site plan review committee, there's a lot of different committees that, there's an order of
So this committee might be interested, once you develop a little bit more about the affordable units. Obviously, that's this
Okay.
committee's primary interest. So if you don't mind coming back and letting us know about that,
Okay,
as your design develops and as you get,
right.
you know.
Yeah, I
more-
need to educate myself. I looked, and I didn't see guidelines in terms of
Like
the AMI and whether it's the lottery that I contribute the units and you folks vet the tenants, or whether we do it.
do have some
So
information about that, and we could give you some
Can
good
have-
Yeah.
information once you
Contact,
get
certainly.
about, we have local groups that do a very fine job of that, and so we can come back and we can talk about that as it gets closer to, you know, approval of your design and all those things that are big right now. But I think we could certainly be helpful, and we would like to support you in that area.
okay, wonderful, great.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you very much.
appreciate
Good
your
luck.
time. Good luck. I also might mention on February 1st, we're going to be talking about something. We're going to have a Zoom presentation on housing, a general housing presentation that you might actually like to be a part of as well. You might like to listen to it and hear what's going on. We're going to be talking about it at this meeting, and there'll be some more information, but it might give you just a little bit of that overview that you were looking for. So we'll send you that information too. And- All right. Leading into that, agenda item number 2 is our February 1st meeting housing presentation. I mentioned this in my memo to you, but I'm going to explain it again for the benefit of the tape here. Since our last meeting, we were talking about community engagement. Let's sync this up. Community engagement and, you know, how we could get the story out and how we could best support the select board and support everyone involved with housing initiatives. So the select board had decided to invite the CDP to give a presentation on February 1st to members of town committees. And that started us thinking, and in between, during the Christmas holiday season, we've been talking about a little bit more, and we thought that along with that CDP presentation, we could also start making our own presentation, and maybe piggyback these two things in order to get our information out. We had initially at the last meeting talked about having a finance committee presentation, and Marcia and Alan and I had been working on that. And then when this February 1st came up, we thought, let's postpone that, do this February 1st overview. And then the hope from one of this is, once we've done an overview, the broad picture with CDP on housing and issues in Orleans, on the Cape, and then a more narrow, specifically presentation by Marcia about what's happening in Orleans, then we could then open it up to the committees to think, now that you've heard this overview and some specifics, what can you do to impact housing initiatives in Orleans? And what could the Affordable Housing Committee do to come back to your committee and answer specific questions or lead into other issues that we had not thought about? But that would be tailored to the specific committee once we've done the general overview. So with a lot of back and forth discussion, today we actually met with a conference call, Marcia, myself, Andrea Aldana from CDP, Jay Coburn from CDP, Andrea Reed from our select board, and Alan McLennan from the Affordable Trust Board. We had a meeting today and talked about all those great ideas, and we all agreed that it was fine. So we have a plan in mind. We have, and Marcia and Andrea are going to be working together on the actual specifics of how we condense the CDP portion so that it's meaningful, and then how we add some more of our Orleans information. So this is scheduled for February 1st at 4:30 p.m., and that will be our meeting. We're donating our meeting to the cause, because this is our cause, is to be a supporter and an educator and advocate for affordable housing. So we are donating our February 1st meeting for that reason.
Sorry, Nancy, is it all via Zoom?
Will be in person, and people can be in person, but it'll also be Zoom, because it's going to be an invitation to, the general invitation to the town boards. People will, RSVP and will let us know who would come. And we can have some people in the audience, and we can have some people here, will be here. And we will call the meeting to order and do a little bit of the organization of it, and then we will also adjourn at the end of that for our meeting. So, in the general, we're still, now we've made the agreement, we've got the date, we talked today about sending out from Mr. Kelly's office, because this is a select board invitation. We are supporting it and helping with it, but the select board is inviting the boards because they want to support housing initiatives in this town. So he will send out a save the date maybe this week, just so they know it's coming, and then then there'll be another a little more clearer invitation of what's going to be on there. But we wanted to be sure, for two reasons, that some people will be coming to this new to the idea and new to the concept, and other people will be coming having had experience going through the Housing Institute and going through a lot of these things and reading a lot. So we wanted to have some kind of a presentation that would keep people who know something about it interested, but also people who don't know too much about it will learn some more things. And then, again, bring it right back to Orleans and what we're doing, what we're working on now, leading up to further decisions coming down with Governor Prince, town meeting, other things that might be happening in the next few months. So the agenda, we're still working on the fine details of this, but there'll be an introduction from the select board, from Andrea. I will introduce ourselves, and Alan, from the Affordable Housing Trust Board, just a little bit of introduction, small. And then there'll be the overview of the housing needs by Andrea from CDP, and then there'll be the Orleans piece from Marcia, and then there'll be time for question and answer, and then an invitation for people to follow up with us when, as needed, or as interested, as we go forward in this process. It's designed to be about an hour and 15 minutes, and I think that's all the information I have right now. So I think it's sort of, it was, I'd just like to say, it was sort of serendipitous. It sort of came out of the Select Board, it came out of CDP, and it came out of what we've been talking about. And I think by it all coming together this way, it's really got the best of all groups. And I think it also spoke to our real need to, how do we get out there and tell our story? And I think, personally, it sounds like a really exciting hour and 15 minutes to get everybody on the same page, or on some page, or even to find out what page they want to be on. So I think all of those things will happen as a result of that. So thank you for all your input as we've been trying to put all this together, and I think it's a good start.
Can you talk a little bit about what committees will be invited?
Do you want to speak, Andrea?
Initially, the idea was to have the stakeholder committees especially important for their training, so Planning Board, CDP, Finance, and I think now, again, if, as a community, we're acknowledging that we have a housing crisis, I think every board and committee, if they can make the time, should attend. So I think it's going out as a general opportunity to learn something about what's happening on the Cape and specifically what's going on in Orleans.
Andrew, you said CDP. I assume you mean.
I'm sorry, CPC. Thank you,
CPC.
Katie.
Thank you.
It's all letters. Any other questions, comments? Everybody happy? I think it's a really good example of thing we've talked about, some of the silos coming together, working together, and I think it's really important that it already has broadened that discussion for us just with the people we've been talking to, and I believe that it will continue to broaden as time goes on. So, okay. So, write it down right now. Save the date, February 1st. We'll all be here. Okay. The third thing we're going to talk about today is we're going back to our data plan, the response of the Affordable Housing Trust Board and other people that we need to update some of our data from the 2017 study, where we are, what we've accomplished, what the needs are continued to be. So Marcia has come up with a summary of a data plan that she has an idea how we can go forward on this, and I'm going to just let her have the floor and let her explain it.
Okay, thanks. So there's been a lot of talk about the need for an update. I actually think the data is not that old insofar as it's not like it's radically changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. But I think that we do need to update some of our things and maybe add some other things. So some of my ideas, I'm just going to talk, these are just ideas at this point, and part of the point here is to have that discussion, see what your interests are and where you may want to expand or do a little less on. And overall, what I'm thinking of is basically do a thorough update with some other kinds of things coming out of it over the next year. So that's what I'm thinking of. The census data is now becoming available. A lot of it has been made available, but really more in summary form and certain kinds of data. But some of the detailed data that we need, that is like income data by household, hasn't been released yet. But it should be coming out soon in the spring and in the summer. So my suggestion is that we go for a, quote, update of the comprehensive study. But what we do is we take a look at the 2017 study and really really pick out the indicators, those data points that are most important to us to get updated. So for example, the rental affordability gap, how's that gotten worse or better? And certainly the cost burden issue, how has that changed over our time? And then I think my feeling is that there's still a large number of homeowner needs that we know very little about. And it really depends. The homeowner could be cost burdened because they can't afford the mortgage, or it could be that they don't have a mortgage, but they can't afford upkeep, or it could be they just want to downsize and they are basically struggling to meet their other needs. So it could be any number of factors, and the reason that's important is that when it comes to homeowner assistance programs tend to be quite expensive, especially if you need to produce new units. It's very expensive. And also, it depends. Do you need rehab? Do you need home counseling and finance? Do you need buying a new unit? It varies what the outcome would be depending on what the nature of the need is. So I do think we need to delve into, there's like 590 households that have been identified as cost-burdened homeowners, which is a huge number. And that doesn't even count the median income homeowners that are probably cost-burdened too, but are not considered affordable category. But that we may still look at it. And then keep in mind too, to the point of missing middle, it doesn't mean that subsidy is always a solution for missing middle. It could actually be the kind of housing that Mr. DeSisto is talking about. You need more market rate rental, because we have very few year-round rentals in this community. So it could be any number of things that could be a government intervention, or it could be working with private sector, it could be information. There's all the talk about ADUs and how to encourage ADUs, so they're going to set up an ADU resource center and try to provide more assistance to current owners who might be willing to create ADUs, and that could meet some people's needs. So there's a whole range of possibilities that come out of that huge number of homeowners in need. So I think what we do as a study is, part of the study would be to delve into a little bit more information about homeowner needs. I think we've been rightly focused on rental, because that